Okay, we're in Shift, and today we're going to focus on lead conversion. And on page 85 of Shift, Gary starts out by saying, the challenge is that lead conversion is a process. I'm going to pause just long enough for you to write that down. Lead conversion is a process that gets interpreted as an event that just sort of occurs on its own. So the challenge is lead generation, lead follow-up is a process that gets interpreted as an event that just happens on its own. In other words, it kind of feels like an event. When you meet with somebody, you're in lead generation and you schedule an appointment, and a couple days goes by and they call you back, and the conversation sounds like, Juanita, we're ready. Come on over and list our home. And it feels like an event. Or a better example would be Vicky's door knocking. She talks to someone that says, sure, we're thinking of selling our home, but it's going to be a couple months. She makes a couple follow-up calls. She's consistent. And she gets a call that says, we're ready. That looks like an event. The conversation, we're ready, come list our home, looks and feels like an event, when in reality, it's a process. If all of the conversations didn't happen prior to the last conversation, come list our home, then would we get the call, we're ready to list our home, come list it? No, we wouldn't. It's a process. It's not an event. So my first question for you today is, what's working for you with converting leads to appointments?
Asking for the appointment.
Thank you, Shirley.
Asking.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Shirley. And if I can piggyback on that, if the answer is, if you don't get the appointment, I want you to remember something. I want you to write it down. If I don't get the appointment, people will not change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. In other words, example. Yeah, John, I'm not ready yet. Maybe call me back in 90 days. I'm really not in a hurry. Okay. Just out of curiosity, if you knew selling your home in the next 30 days meant you were going to sell for more money than you would 90 days from now, would you be in a little bit more of a hurry then? Now, that gives them an opportunity to make a new decision based on new information. In other words, yeah, I would. Let's go ahead and get together now versus I'm going to wait 90 days. I've made a new decision based on new information. The new decision is, let's go ahead and meet. The new information is the market's changing. I might want to go ahead and get this on the market now versus waiting. We're seeing a lot more homes go on the market, and active listings are up 48% year to date over last year. Now, the trend is we're seeing more and more active listings. So that means, Vicki, if we wait 90 days, and I'm cool with that if you want to, if we wait 90 days, there's probably going to be more homes on the market, which means there's going to be more competition. Now, just out of curiosity, is it easier to sell your home when there's less competition like there is now? Or is it going to be easier when there's more competition like there might be in 90 days? Now, what do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, well, it would be easier with less competition, sure. And if you knew you were going to have more competition from 90 days from now, would you still wait? No, I wouldn't. They're making a new decision based on new information. All right, so my next question is, when it comes to lead conversion and lead follow-up, that's the topic of conversation today, what's your biggest challenge? Now, every single hand should go up on this one. And most of you are going to have the same answer, but I'm going to wait until at least one person gives me an answer. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to lead follow-up and lead conversion?
I think for me, it's just actually doing it.
Okay. Thank you, Megan. And Megan, talk to me why.
Well, if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist, right?
Okay.
So I have to, the time blocking the actual follow-up point is something that I need to commit to.
Okay. Okay. If you're following up with someone, thank you, Megan, great answer. If you're following up with someone for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and you're hearing, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet, or you know what, I'll call you when I'm ready. What's the biggest challenge with lead follow-up and conversion?
Rejection.
Rejection. Okay, thank you, Megan. Now, Megan, hang in there. Have you been rejected?
100 times over.
No. So in this particular conversation, I'm not ready yet. I'll call you when I'm ready. Is that a rejection?
Yes.
Oh boy. Wow. I'm so glad we're doing this. No, it's not. I didn't say no. I said not yet.
It's just noise.
It's noise, right? And the reason it's not yet is because I haven't discovered a good enough reason to change my mind. Megan, does that make sense?
Yes.
If you're seeing that as rejection, now this is for everybody because I'm putting Megan on the spot right now, and that's not nice. If you're seeing that conversation as rejection, are you going to continue to call them? Say no.
No.
You're not. And if you stop calling, are they going to hire you? Say no. There's your biggest challenge. There it is, right there. And if we look at the lead generation model, at the top of the model, we have connect. And I'm second guessing myself. I shouldn't do that. It's actually contact, and I knew that. At the top of the model, we have contact. We have connect. We have convert to an appointment. Now, from contact to connect to convert to an appointment, if they're not ready yet to convert to an appointment, then we go over here, which is cultivate. Another word for cultivate is follow up. This is our biggest challenge. This is all of your biggest challenges because we see not ready yet as rejection. As no. Now, the question is, if you sold your home yesterday, you're a lead, you're in my database, you sold your home yesterday, the commission on that sale is $10,000, and this is the next day. On the day the lead closed, the value of that lead is $10,000. The very next day, the value of that lead is 0. Now, every 7 to 10 years, we move based on US statistics. Every 7 to 10 years, we move, which means 7 to 10 years from now, that same person is back up here and the value of that lead is $10,000. Now, you are door knocking, you're making calls, or you're marketing and you get a lead and you speak to someone and they're right here. In other words, they're at least 3 or 4 years away from being ready to buy again or sell again. Or they're here. Maybe they're a year or two away from being ready to buy or sell. Or maybe they're here, which means they're 2 or 3 months away from being ready to buy or sell. In other words, we have an A lead, a B lead, or a C lead. Now, if you could choose between these 3 leads, A, B, or C, which one do you want? Easy question. You want an A lead. Now, if I have a team and I give you a lead and I have Juanita, here's a lead. This is John and Betty Smith. They're interested in buying a home. Here you go. You call them and they tell you, we just really wanted to know the value of the house. We just really wanted to know the price. We're really not in the market to buy a home. We moved 2-3 years ago. We're at least 3 or 4 years away from moving. What do most real estate agents think in that conversation? Good lead or bad lead? Bad lead. And I would share with you that there are no such things as bad leads, just real estate agents who don't follow up. If I take that same lead and I put it down here in my follow-up pipeline, in my pipeline of opportunity, and I have A opportunities, B opportunities, and C opportunities, that's a C opportunity. They're 2 to 3 years, 3 or 4 years away from being ready to buy or being ready to sell. No big deal. I'm going to be selling homes 3 years from now. I'm going to be selling homes 4 years from now. If you've been in the business for 5 years and you close a deal today from somebody you spoke to 3 or 4 years ago, are you getting paid any less money because the lead came from 3 or 4 years ago than you would if you got the lead 30 days ago? No, it's the same amount. If it's $10,000, it's still $10,000. So what's the value of C leads? $10,000. What's the value of B leads? $10,000. What's the value of A leads? $10,000. The problem with real estate agents is they all only want the A leads. They want immediate gratification. And if it's not immediate opportunity, it goes in the trash. Literally, it goes in the trash. Or they make a couple calls and they hear, I'm not ready. I'll call you when I am. And they're hearing that as rejection. And they stop making the calls. Now, the way I'm going to work these A, B, and C leads in my follow-up pipeline is my A leads, I'm calling them weekly until I hear I'm ready to sell my house or I'm ready to buy a home. My B leads, I'm calling them once a month. And B leads are anybody that are going to buy a home or sell a home in the next 6 to 12 months. They're not 30 days to 6 months. They're 6 months to 12 months. And I'm going to check in with them once a month. Now, these C leads, they're a couple of years away. I'm going to call them once a quarter. Once every 3 months, I'm going to call Mimosa, John Dietz, Keller Williams Realty. It's been 3 months since we talked. Just wanted to check in, see how you are. And now I have an opportunity to have a forward conversation, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. It's a care call, not a sales call. I'm always leading with gratitude. I'm bringing value to the conversation. I'm looking for opportunity. Before I hang up the phone, just out of curiosity, who do you know that might be thinking of buying or selling a home in the next 6 months? Just because you are not ready to buy or sell now doesn't mean you don't know anybody who's ready to buy or sell now. Now, if we looked at every single opportunity, every single person who goes into this pipeline, if we looked at them all the same, and we added one person a day, 250 days a year, we've added 250 new opportunities that are in our pipeline. And if we follow up forever, because we reject rejection, because no is not a word that lives in our vocabulary, no simply means not yet. By the way, I'm not ready yet. I'll call you when I am is the same thing as no. At least that's what you're hearing. And if I look at every single opportunity that goes into my pipeline as every single one of them are going to work with me, I believe that every single one of them are going to hire me. And then I am going to show up enthusiastically every day about follow-up. And I'm going to make those follow-up calls forever because I expect every single one of them to hire me. Now, what if only 20% do? It means 80% told you to go jump in a lake. 80% rejected you. 20% said yes. You've closed 50 sales. Now, 50 times an average commission of $10,000 is $500,000. If I told you I'm hiring you to do a job, and most of this is your job, I want you to talk to people until you find somebody who's thinking of buying or selling a home. I don't care if it's 30 days from now or 2 years from now, but I want you to talk to people every day until you find somebody who's thinking of buying or selling a home. I want you to put them into this follow-up pipeline, and then I want you to, using a system, I want you to consistently follow up with them over time. By the way, I'm going to pay you a salary of $500,000 to do this. Now I have one stipulation. You have to put one new person in that pipeline every day, and you have to follow up with every single one of them forever.
Forever?
Forever. Even if they tell you, I'm never going to hire you, I want your response to be, I understand, and I'll call you in a month.
Okay.
Those are the conditions of this job. And I'm going to pay you $500,000. Do you want the job?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would too.
but it's forever.
And yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, okay. So you have 3 reasons you can stop calling them. You want to write this down because it's part of your contract. If they sell their home, you don't have to keep calling them.
Okay.
If they list their home, you don't want to keep calling them. If you die, you can stop calling them. Now, those are the conditions of the contract. Are you interested in the job?
Yes.
Start tomorrow. Now, here's what's interesting, everybody. And Victoria, thank you for laughing. Here's what's interesting. Every single one of you have been given that opportunity. It hasn't sounded like that, but that's the opportunity you've been given. And most of you have said, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Now, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't sound like that, but that's what you're saying. When you don't do the activities. Don't know how that makes you feel. See how many people jumped off Zoom. Oh, nobody. Okay, we're good. Cool. All right, page 89, Gary Keller goes on to say, lead conversion isn't a game of chance, but a game of scripts and systems. Page 104, Gary goes on to say, by the way, let me back up for a moment because I'm kind of just jumping over that and I shouldn't do that. There's 2 things that will make the difference with this. What to say, knowing what to say in every single conversation, meaning if you get an objection, you have a response. You have lots of questions that you can ask in order to help each of these 250 people. You have lots of questions that you can ask in order to help them make a new decision based on new information. To that person who says, I'm going to wait until December when all the snowbirds are here to put my home on the market. Right? If you knew that waiting until December meant you were going to make less money, you were going to sell your home for less money, would you still wait? If you wait until December and you put your home on the market and you find out that your home is worth less than it is today, how do you feel about that? Okay, there's 2 things that will make the difference between success and failure: knowing what to say and having a system in order to systematically follow up with everybody in your pipeline. Because if you have 250 people on a spreadsheet, or on sticky notes all over your desk, it ain't going to happen. So knowing what to say in systems, super important. All right, page 104, Gary goes on to say, most agents struggle with cultivation or follow-up if they connect but can't immediately close for an appointment. If they connect but can't immediately close for an appointment, they usually let the lead slip. In other words, they throw it in the trash, or they just stop calling. They simply don't consistently follow up, and oddly enough, it surprises them when they hear those people listed their home or bought a home with another agent. Just put me in the chat if you've spoken with anybody in the last 12 months who said, I'm not ready yet. And then the next thing you know, their home is on the market with another agent. Or I'm not ready yet. I'm not going to buy until the prices come down. And the next thing you know, they're under contract with another agent. You got outscripted. Your job is to have better scripts than your buyers and sellers do. So lead follow-up. What's working? What are your biggest challenges? Now, we're almost out of time, so I just want you to write these questions down. And I want you to write down what's working in my lead follow-up, make a list. And then the next question is, what are my biggest challenges? And then the last question is, what's one thing that I can do that I am currently not doing in order to remove those challenges? What is one thing that I can do that I am currently not doing in order to remove those challenges? Right? I was having a conversation with my MAPS coach yesterday, and I'm 7 years in the same role, 7 years doing the same thing, 7 years of living 2, 10, 40, 2 appointments a day, 10 a week, 40 a month. It's a standard. 7 years of having the same goals every single month and hitting that E to P ceiling, right? Trying to break through that ceiling. And he's asking me, what can you do in order to get where you want to go versus where you are? And my answer is, other than what I'm currently doing, I don't know. I really don't. In other words, being super transparent with you guys and letting you know I struggle with this too, just like you do. Okay? Here's what's interesting. The answer was right in front of me. It really was. The answer was right in front of me. And because I was so focused on the challenge, I wasn't seeing the answer. What you focus on expands. If you're focused on the challenge, what happens to the challenge? It gets bigger. And I'm telling them, this is how many calls I make every day. This is how many agents that I talk to that are doing 3 million or more. So that's a mark that we look at, right? And I have a standard, and my standard has been 8 conversations a day. 8 conversations a day to that group of agents, Nick, right? And that's been my standard for 2 years. You guys are just, when I tell you my answer, you're going to go, well, duh, John, of course. You should have solved that. It's called a blind spot for a reason. It was a blind spot for me. I couldn't see it. He just kept asking. When I said, other than what I'm currently doing, I don't know. Other than what I'm currently doing, well, tell me what you're doing. I'm doing this, and I'm doing a lot. I'm having 8 conversations with agents who are doing $3 million or more. Said that about a dozen times. That's an exaggeration. And then I finally said, well, I guess I can turn that 8 conversations a day to 16 conversations a day. And his response was, there you go. That's it. That's the answer. I'm like, we've been working together for 2 years. Why haven't you told me that before? He says, I didn't tell you this time. You did. I'm like, wow, I pay you $1,000 a month for that. All right, talk to me. What'd you guys hear? By the way, he's a great coach. That's exactly, and here's why I needed to say it, because now I own it. If he would have told me, John, this is what you need to do, I would have pushed back. He's pushing. This is what I want you to do. What's the natural response to that? To push back. All right, talk to me. What'd you hear?
Finally, your mind decide that you have to grow. When you have to grow, you go and you have 16 conversations.
There it is, Daniel. Yeah. By the way, 16 conversations a day.